Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Our sponsor today is our Sam, Lilu Nishmat. Lilu Nishmat, where are the names?
Baruch Chaim ben Kanievski.
Baruch Chaim ben Kanievski. Maria ben Dina, Bracha Badina, Naomi bat Kanievski. Also, Mazal Tov too, Daniel. What's your last name?
Shamalov.
Shamalov, on the birth of a baby girl, right? Mazal Tov.
Many more.
We also have Mazal Tov to my brother-in-law and my sister. They also had a girl. Benny. Yeah, this was the next year that we had. We're going to do a little bit of Zera Shimshon today. And we're going to go into something, we're going to connect it to this week's Parsha, a little bit on Hanukkah also. This week, Zera Shimshon, what's happening in the Parsha? We have Yaakov Avinu coming down to Mitzrayim. And Johnny, who is he meeting? Who is he meeting after 22 years? Yaakov Avinu is coming down to Mitzrayim. And he meets Yosef HaTzadik, his son. He did not see his son for 22 years. 22 years he did not see Yosef. Rashi says this week's Parsha that he came down and he saw Yosef, and Yosef hugged him, started crying on his neck, fell on his neck, was, overly emotional, but it doesn't say anything about Yaakov. Yaakov doesn't say he kissed him, doesn't say he cried. What's going on? So Rashi explains from Midrash, very famous, everyone knows this Midrash. It says the Fisha Koreh et Shema, he was reading Kriyat Shema. Yaakov Avinu didn't see his son for 22 years. What's the first thing he did before even hugging him, kissing him? He's saying Shema Yisrael. He's saying Shema Yisrael at the moment where he's finally meeting his beloved son that he was crying and mourning over for so long. So it's a very famous question. You hear what's going on? Yaakov didn't see his son Yosef for 22 years. He finally sees him, and instead of hugging and kissing him, what's the first thing he does? He says Shema. Why are you saying Shema? Why are you saying Shema? So some Rishonim, they answer, it was the time of nets, and the best time to say Shema is nets. So you know what we're going to do? Yaakov's like, I'm going to say Shema, because mitzvot come before, emotional stuff. But the problem with that answer is not so good. Because is Yosef also a Tzadik? Very big Tzadik. So why isn't he also saying Shema? So that cannot be the answer. So the Zera Shimshon is going to bring out a different answer, something new to all of us. First he starts off and he explains that don't say, some people might say, Yaakov didn't see Yosef, and he already started saying Shema. And in the middle, when you're in the middle of Shema, you can't talk. And you can't do movements. So maybe he was already in the middle of Shema. So he says, no. It says that he saw him, and only after it says that he began reciting Shema. And plus, during Shema, what do you do to your eyes? You cover them. So could he have seen Yosef if he covered his eyes? No.
No, but he said he saw them, then he started doing it.
I'm saying, even if you want to say that he was in the middle of Shema, you can't say that because he was covering his eyes. Understand? So what's the answer? So he gives a very deep answer. In Shema, how many words do we have? How many? You want to count for us? How many words we got?
248.
Shema, 6, perfect. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 6 words. What's the first word? What's the last word? The first word is Shema. What's the last word, Johnny? Last word. Echad. Echad is the last word. Take the first 2 letters of the first word and the first 2 letters of the last word. You're going to get Shin Mem and then Aleph Chet. It spells out, says the Zera Shimshon, Esmach, which means I will rejoice. That you're supposed to say Shema at a time of rejoicing. And this is the main part we're going to focus on. Take the last 2 letters. If you look inside the Torah, I don't know whoever's Bar Mitzvah Parsha is going to be Parshat Va'et Chanan. It says Shema Yisrael over there, or Ekev, I don't know which one. If you look at the letters, they're big. They're big. If you have regular people in the room, then you have the big guy. So that's how it looks with the letters. It has all the regular letters, and then the ayin of Shema and the dalit of Echad are big. They're Johnny size. So why is this so? So it's very special why they're big. It says the ayin, we're going to go with the dalit first. The dalit represents, what is dalit gematria, Daniel? Aleph is 1. Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, Dalet is 4. Dalet is gematria 4. How many mothers do we have? How many imahot? What are the names? Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. So the Dalit of Echad represents the 4 mothers we have. The 70, the Shema, the ayin at the end is 70. What does that represent? The big ayin? It represents all 3 of our avot. Avraham was the midah of chesed. All he wanted to do in his life was kindness. There's one guy in this room who always wants to do kindness. Who's always doing chesed in this room? No. Honestly, I think the guy who has the biggest heart of chesed is Johnny, and he gets it from his sandak, from my father. To be honest, they're both 100%. Honestly, I think these guys have a big chesed, and the reason why is my father's name has to do with Avraham Avinu, right? I just can't say a name because I'm a son. But you have this midah of chesed. That what do we get? We get all our midot from our fathers. So it says Avraham was the midah of chesed. There's 70 bridges of kindness. It says in the Zohar, it says there's 70 bridges of kindness. Then we have Yitzchak. What does Yitzchak represent? He's justice, Yitzchak.
Oh, Yitzchak?
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have one of these in the room. You tell me if your father's like this. Very strict, very, always, does the deen. Whatever is the justice, he says this is the halacha. Like this is what you're supposed to get. How many? Well,
No, you said you can't say your father's name.
no, you're not allowed to say your father's name in public, in front of him. You can't call him your father. Yeah. No, I didn't know. So if you have 70, how many judges were in the Sanhedrin? 70. The ayin, how does it correspond to Yitzchak? There's 70 judges. Yitzchak represents justice. Yitzchak represents, judgment. And therefore, there's 70 judges corresponding to him. How does Yaakov represent the letter ayin, which is 70? How does Yaakov Avinu have to do with 70? Anyone have any idea? What do you think about 70 and Yaakov Avinu?
Because he had his first son who was
70 people that came down.
There we go. Both brothers got it. 70 people came down to Mitzrayim. I don't even know what you said. 70 people came down to Mitzrayim from Yaakov Avinu. He had 70 descendants. Says the Zera Shimshon, do you know why Shema Yisrael was recited at the meeting of Yosef? Do you know why Yaakov recited this at that moment? Because it was the first time in his life that he saw the 70 people of Klal Yisrael together. The 70 people of Yaakov were the foundation of the Jewish nation. From these 70 people came 600,000, came millions, came the Jewish nation from these 70. This was the moment where he finally did the tikkun. He did the rectification of Shema Yisrael, where he connected everything. We already had Avraham, which was 70 bridges of kindness. We already had Yitzchak, which was the 70 judges. We already had the 4 Mehot, which was the Dalid. And now we're having Yaakov 70, the 70 people that came down to Mitzrayim. He finally saw everyone unified together. And he didn't let his emotions take over. Many times we let our emotions take over. He said, no. When a mitzvah comes, I don't delay the mitzvah. When do I do the mitzvah? Immediately. Right away. And when your father has a certain attribute, it gets passed down to the children. Always the way it works. If the father worked on his anger, when he has kids, he's not going to have such big anger problems. When the father works on guarding in his eyes, then the kids are not going to have that many problems with guarding your eyes. Do you know that? Every time you work on yourself, even though you might think, I already messed up. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, every time you're beating your Yetzer Hara, you're making all your kids have an easier time. You're making that your daughters are not going to be stumbling blocks for other people. You're helping out your future generations.
How does that work?
And it goes for kids and grandkids. What do you mean?
How does that work? Like, you
So
work on your anger, so your kids are not going to get angry?
they're going to have a less harder time. If you're going to have a certain bad thing, let's say someone has a very bad attribute of he likes to curse. His kids are going to have a problem with cursing. 100%.
Even if he likes to gamble, then his kids are going to be gambling.
Yes, his kids are going to have the test. Because if you're not going to beat your test, once you're going to beat your test, your kid's not going to have such a big problem. Because the midah goes with the way the father is.
So then the kid should blame his father for his actions?
No, I'm going to tell you something. You as a kid, you were put into the family that you needed to be put in. Meaning you were supposed to have this test. Who does Hashem give a kid with the test? To the father that had the same test. You understand? If the father didn't work on something, now his kid's going to have that same problem. But it works for the good also. If you worked on something, you did a certain mitzvah, your kid's going to be really good at this. Yaakov Avinu, we're going to say. Obviously, every person has their own choice. But it's easier. Yaakov Avinu, he worked on not judging through his emotions. Yaakov Avinu right away, he judged, whatever Hashem wants me to do, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to procrastinate. Yosef HaTzadik was exactly the same way. Just a few weeks ago, we had in the Parsha, Yosef was together in the same house as wife of Potiphar. Potiphar was the guy. The wife of Potiphar, her name was Zulaicha.
I thought it was Zipra.
No.
That isn't her?
No.
Zulaicha.
Zulaicha. Now what happened? What happened over there? 1 year, she's seducing him. 1 year, imagine being in the house. She's there. And she's seducing. And she's not letting go. She's changing her outfits 3 times a day. And she's not letting Yosef HaTzadik have just one moment of calmness. Comes the day, Johnny, 1 year later. No one's in the house. Everyone's out. Not even a soul. She comes to Yosef. She grabs Yosef's shirt. She grabs his tzitzit, it says. And she grabs the tzitzit. And she says, Shichva imi. Sleep with me. But what does Yosef HaTzadik do at that moment? Right now he doesn't know what to do. He sees his dad before and he's like already thinking, I can't do this sin. He runs. She tears the tzitzit off him and he runs away without his shirt. And now what happens? She has the evidence. She says, he wanted to be with me. Look, he took off his shirt. He wanted to be with me. And she uses this against him and he goes to jail for 12 years. 12 years, he's locked up in the dungeon. He's over there with all the criminals. And he's there, why? Because he didn't go and grab back his shirt. I have a very big question. Was Yosef HaTzadik a strong guy? Yes. What's the proof? What's the proof? Someone said yes. David, you said yes. Yeah, was he physically strong? No, he was strong. Yaakov Avinu, his father. You know what his father did on the first date? First time he saw the girl, he took a boulder that 10 people needed to pick up and he picked it up with one hand. And he lifted it off the well. Would you be able to do that on your first date? Nah.
Which hand?
So it says he lifted the boulder with just one hand that 10 people needed to pick up. Was a strong guy? Strong guy. He fought an angel the whole night. Was he strong? Daniel, you strong?
Yeah.
Strong guy. Talk to other Daniel. Strong guy.
Also with his brothers, when he fought with Yehuda, no?
Oh, that's the third proof I'm going to bring. First I'm going to bring, good. Shimon and Levi, we're going to speak about Shimon and Levi first. Shimon and Levi, they were defeated the whole Shechem. 24,000 heads they cut off. Could you imagine taking 24,000 cows? You, let's say Johnny and Daniel, one day they spend just cutting cows' heads off, okay? You have to take the cow, you have to flip the cow on the table, take the knife and shecht it, okay? 24,000 times. Would you be able to do that in one day? One day, would you be able to do that? Not a chance. They took 24,000 warriors, their heads off. You know what type of strength you need for that? They were giborim. Like Daniel said, Yehuda, he approached Yosef this week's Parsha, Vayigash elav Yehuda, and he yelled that the entire Mitzrayim heard his roar. Can you imagine the whole America hears your yell? You know how strong you have to be? That the whole country is able to hear your voice with just one yell? That's a strong man, Yehuda. And Yosef sitting on the throne, and he says, oh, these guys think they're strong. They don't know he's Yosef yet. He tells his son Menashe, go show them who we are. And Menashe, he punches the pillar, and the pillar crumbles, and the whole house starts shaking. And they see what they're up against. Yehuda and all the brothers, like, wow, these guys also have our powers. So we see that the Shvatim, these sons of Yaakov, they're not simple people. These guys are supernatural human beings. They're above. Imagine right now, we take this. It's Yosef HaTzadik versus in the rink, not John Cena, but Eshe Potiphar, the wife of Potiphar. He and wife of Potiphar, you know how easy it is to grab your shirt back? Just grab your shirt back. You're not going to go to jail. Why didn't he grab his shirt back? You understand the question?
Stand there for one more second, he might have fallen to the test.
Okay, that's the concept we're going to talk about. The concept of procrastination. There's two klipot in this world, two evil forces. One is called Esav, and one is Amalek. What does Esav always try to make us do? Do bad. Eat this thing, it's not kosher, it's fine, who cares about Hashem? He doesn't really care if you eat it. Go to this place, go to this vacation. Why do you care who you're with? Hang out with these friends. This is Esav. Esav is always telling us, he's the person in our brain, do bad, do bad, do bad. You ever had this guy come in your brain? You know what his name is? His name is Esav. Esav. He's the representation of the Yitzhara. We have number two, we have Amalek. Amalek does the total opposite. He stops a person from doing the good. You understand? He takes a person's thoughts, and many times you have in your brain, I want to start davening to Hashem. I want to start learning Torah. I want to start coming to shiurim. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better wife. I want to be someone that's people like to be next to. I want to work on my musar. I want to start learning how to be a good person with good midot. But what happens? The idea comes in your head, and just like it came in, comes out. He stops, you push it off till tomorrow. You say, I'm going to wait 5 years. I'm going to wait this. How many times were we doing an Avera for so long, and then one day we're just like, we want to take upon ourselves not to do this Avera anymore. Let's say we're missing Shacharit already for 2 years. And then comes tomorrow, we're like, you know what? We got inspired by Shiur, we got inspired by something that happened, and we said we're going to start coming tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, you're in bed, you're looking at the ceiling, and you're in your head, I didn't go to Shacharit for 2 years. Is it going to make a difference if it's 2 years in one day? You ever had that thought in your brain?
Yes.
2 years in one day, big deal. Or 3 weeks in a day, I want to do it the next day. This is Amalek speaking. Amalek puts doubt in our brains. But Yosef HaTzadik, you know what he said? I'm not going to procrastinate the mitzvah, not even for a moment. I have the mitzvah right now to run away from this lady. I'm going to run away as fast as I can. 1 moment can save me from jail. No. I'm not going to procrastinate the mitzvah, because when the mitzvah comes, what are you supposed to do, Sam? You're supposed to do the mitzvah, jump to the mitzvah. You're supposed to bizrizut as fast as possible. And don't let Amalek get you. Don't let Amalek get you in its clutches. Now, where do we see that Amalek is in charge of making people procrastinate? What's the first place in the Torah we see Amalek? You seem to be smart. You're always answering questions. What's the first place?
The desert.
The desert.
When they attacked.
When they attacked. Perfect. They attacked the Jewish people, and who was appointed as the general of the army? Moshe Rabbeinu appointed who? Yoshua. He appointed Yoshua ben Nun, you're going to be general. And he tells him like this. He says, Yoshua, go out tomorrow to fight Amalek. Go yetze le'milchama la'Amalek machar. Tomorrow. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu putting Amalek and tomorrow in the same pasuk? Coming to teach us, do you know what the koach of Amalek is? The koach of Amalek is procrastination.
So why did he
It's pushing off to tomorrow. It's just a symbolization of the Torah. He didn't fall into it. Moshe is hinting to us, don't let Amalek get you by always pushing off till tomorrow.
Why would you fight them tomorrow if they're attacking you today?
I know, I also had the same question when I learned this, but it was just that it's a symbolization in the Torah that he's trying to symbolize to us. How else would we know? We know from here, this is the source, that Amalek is in charge of Machar. Understand? Of tomorrow. And he says, do it tomorrow, do it next week. Don't listen to your Yetzer HaTov. You're not on the level, Johnny. You ever thought about this? I'm not on the level yet. You know what that is? It's called Safek. It's called put you in doubt. The Gematria of Safek and Amalek is both 240. They're exactly the same thing. You're saying to yourself, I'm not on the level to start girls covering my hair. I'm not on the level to start going to shul every day. I'm not on the level to learn Torah. I'm not on the level to get married to a religious girl. This is what you convince yourself. You convince yourself you're not on this. Why?
How do you get started?
Because you have Amalek. How do you get started? You jump into the first mitzvah that you take upon yourself. Take upon one mitzvah, keep to that mitzvah. You don't have to take upon all 613. Hashem wants us to take upon one and do that one. And that's what Yosef HaTzadik did. Yosef HaTzadik right away jumped into battle. Who else did this just recently? In the Hanukkah story? The Chashmonaim. How many Chashmonaim were there? 12, 13. Not so many. What do? They got up and they said, we're going to start fighting the Greeks. We're going to fight the Greek Empire. You know what that is? As you go to war with Russia, going to war with America. They fought the biggest empire in the world at that time with 12 people. They said, we made a decision. We're not going to wait for Trump to back us up. We're not going to wait for anybody to, big armies. We don't need that stuff. We made a decision. We're going to jump into that decision. Why? Because when you procrastinate the good, what are you doing? You're falling into the Amalek's hands. Amalek makes us procrastinate. What are we supposed to do, Daniel? When we have a good thought in our brain, we're supposed to do it right away, right? Miyad, don't even think about it. Just jump into the mitzvah, just like the Chashmonaim did. And we can take this concept and we can flip it the other way as well. Yosef HaTzadik. Why is he called Yosef HaTzadik? Why is he called Tzadik? Where do you get this name from?
Because he overcame a lot of challenges.
He overcame the biggest challenge, which challenge? What was his famous challenge? With the woman, right? Woman, okay, he fought the challenge, big deal. Honestly, big deal. If I told you Rabbi Chaim Kanievski, he was alive, you know why he's the Gadol Ador? You know why he's the big Tzadik? Is because he was not with a not Jewish woman. He did not have, relations with her, and instead he married a girl from Beit Yaakov. A girl from a religious school, religious home. Is he a Tzadik?
Yes.
Rabbi Chaim Kanievski is a big Tzadik because he wasn't with a Goya, he didn't go to the clubs. The biggest rabbi is a Tzadik because he didn't go to the club, or he wasn't with this girl. Why is that so? You know what? Then you should call me Yakubov Tzadik from now on. Call me. I wasn't with any not Jewish girls. I married a girl from Beis Yaakov. She's very religious. Why are we calling Yosef Tzadik Yosef Tzadik? Why is that his title? You understand, Eliezer?
Put to the test.
That was his test.
To the real
You think Rabbi Chaim Kanievski can overcome some girl coming into his house?
That wasn't his test.
It's not coming into the house. She seduced him for years.
A year.
Wait, I didn't even know what the heck happened. What are you talking about?
Why is Yosef
He needs a refresh.
a tzaddik?
Was the rabbi also in that challenge?
No. Give me an example. You know what Yosef is? He's the son of Yaakov. Yaakov's face is on the Kisei Kavod. Imagine your father's face is on the Kisei Kavod. You know what that is? You know how holy you are? You think you're going to get influenced by some girl? Why is he a tzaddik? So the very deep answer, very beautiful, that I saw from the Divrei Shmuel. Rashi says in last week's parsha, 2 weeks ago parsha, he says, Potiphar's wife, her actions were l'shem shamayim. Her actions were really good. Why? She had good intent. Because she saw in the stars. She was an astrologer. A lot of them back then, they knew how to read the stars. And she saw in the stars that she and Yosef are going to have a kid together. Meaning her descendants and Yosef's descendants are going to be the same. They're both going to link. So she thought that link was with him and her. But she was mistaken. Because she adopted Potiphar. She adopted, Osnat, which is Dina's. Dina was with Shechem. Remember that Shechem took Dina? They had a kid together. Who is that? Osnat. What did they do with Osnat? The Shvatim said, we don't want this abomination in our home. Because she came from Shechem. Shechem was with Dina, remember that time? Where he took her? And he, what's him called her? Now what do they do with the kid that came out of Dina? They dropped her out of the door. And it says, Malach Michael came, picked her up, brought her to the house of Potiphar. And over there, the wife adopted, Isha Potiphar adopted her. And in the future, Osnat became the wife of Yosef Tzadik.
Was that the right thing to do though?
Yes. There was a whole machloket about it. That's not for this time, but there was a machloket about it. So now, Osnat is who Yosef's going to marry. But Potiphar read the stars. She said, I don't have any children. They were not able to have kids.
So she lived in that house when he was in there?
Yes.
And he saw her and he never...
He didn't see her. He was guarding his eyes.
But she was in the house when he was
She saw him. And it actually says that she saw the whole entire thing with her mother, her stepmother, and Yosef. She saw that she started the whole thing. And she was the witness of it all. Now, Potiphar's wife looks in the stars and she sees that my descendants are going to be with Yosef's descendants. What does that mean? It means I marry him. So she said, I have to get this guy. And day and night she was trying to get him. But Yosef said, no, I'm not doing it. The whole time he's fighting. Says the Divrei Shmuel, this is the Chiddush. This is what was worth coming here today for. Says the Divrei Shmuel, do you know who else saw those stars? Do you know who else saw that future destiny? That lied, it was inevitable. We're going to have a kid together. Yosef saw that. Yosef saw that one day I'm going to have a child with this Goya. I'm going to have a child with this Egyptian lady. And he said, it says it in the stars. It's my future. I'm already predestined to sin and to fail. And this is what Yosef thought. Now he's there in the house. And that girl is there. The lady is over there seducing him. And he saw in the stars that he's going to one day fail with this girl, with this woman. And you know what he tells himself? He says, I know what's going to happen.
But not today.
I know we're going to have a child. And I know I'm going to fall into this sin. But it's not going to happen today. Today I'm not going to do it. And that was the tzidkut of Yosef. The righteousness of Yosef, which attained him the title universally known as Yosef HaTzadik, is because he said, I know the sin is going to happen. I know I'm not on the level to fight it because it already says in the stars I'm going to fail. But I'm able to tell myself I can fight it today. It's not going to happen today.
So if he fell into it, then it's not really his fault because he saw it bound.
But that's why he was the tzaddik. But it wasn't bound to happen. He was supposed to have it with Osnat. They didn't know that because they didn't see any kids. He thought it was already done. He failed the child. If you already know you failed the challenge, why would you go ahead and try still study for the test? Why are you still studying if you already said the guy on the top says you failed? Imagine your teacher said you failed the test. Why are you studying? Why even trying to? Why are you sitting there for 3 hours? Yosef HaTzadik the whole year fighting this test. Such a pleasure. Such a seduction. She's trying to do nothing. He's not giving in. Why? It's not happening today. Many times we have a challenge, and we think that we're nothing. We're not able to fight it, and we think we're not able to fight our tests. But you know what the goal is? The goal is not the long term, because the long term is not up to us. We're not in charge of our future. We're not in charge of what's going to happen, what's meant to be of us. We're in charge of one thing, the now. We're in charge of the present. We're in charge of today. If today we can fight the challenge, if today we can keep kosher, today we can wake up for shachari, if today we can, keep the halachot correctly, if today we cannot get angry, if today we can be respectful to our wives, then today is the time to do it. Because everything goes after hayom. And that's the concept of Amalek flipped. We're supposed to take the procrastination midah, the midah of pushing off, and use that for mitzvot. Every midah we have, we're supposed to utilize it to serve Hashem. Take the midah of procrastination and utilize it to serve God. How? Procrastinate the bad. When an avera comes, say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. When you have a temptation, what are you supposed to say? I'll do it in an hour. Give me 1 hour and then we'll do it. Then I'm going to go there. Vacation, I'll go to a different one. Always procrastinate the good. The bad, but the good you do it right away.
You get a mitzvah.
That's what we learn. That's what we learn. Exactly. Every moment is a mitzvah. That's what we learn, and every moment you're never going to lose your schar. Yes, the very beautiful thing. Even if you still fall. That's a very good thing you brought up. 1 hour, you were holding yourself up. The end of that hour you fell. Guess what? You succeeded your test. 2/3 of your test you succeeded. Because the main thing is the drive to do it, and the fact that you try to hold yourself back. The result is already not up to your hands. You did 1 hour, you're good. You're good, you did an hour. Do an hour, then tell yourself you're going to do the sin. Do 1 hour, say I'm not going to do it, and tell yourself, I will do the sin in 1 hour. 1 hour, you could hold yourself, you could do the sin.
But it's still a sin.
No, not as big. Not all as big. Why? Because that 1 hour, you held yourself back. If you tell yourself that 1 hour, I'm going to wait, but actually tell yourself you're going to do it. Don't lie to yourself. Do the sin. Don't actually do the sin. But tell yourself I'm going to do it. Tell yourself I'm going to do the sin. That's the galut of Yosef HaTzadik. We have to procrastinate the bad. We have to forget the bad. When you have the ability to grab away that clothing, don't wait. Just don't even grab it. Go run away. Why? Because if you're going to grab it, you might turn back and be with her. That's what would have happened. Chashmonaim, they would have waited for a big army. There would be no Hanukkah. There would be no miracles. They right away jumped to action. And Yosef HaTzadik, he said, whatever bad is supposed to come, it's not coming today. That's the goal we're supposed to take out of Hanukkah. That's the goal we're supposed to take out of Yosef HaTzadik. That's why they're linked together. The gematria of Yosef is Antiochus. Who is Antiochus? He was the general, right? 156, 156. Chanukah and Yosef are connected. How are they connected? They both have to do with the idea of pushing off the bad and doing the good right away. And that's the lesson we're supposed to take out. Take out that from now on, when you have something good that comes in your brain, don't stop. Do it right away. Do it as soon as you could. Don't let Amalek come to you. When do you have to use your midah procrastination? Procrastinate the bad. Say, I'm going to do the avera, but I'm not going to do it today. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.